Since the 90s, I have been saying, observing and saying that the diaspora around the globe is the one that are fueling the country's divisiveness and cultures, leading and running the political decisions that are terrible for the country. And I have been living in 3 countries for a really long period. In Germany, I was born and grew up in Germany. I lived for 16 years in Turkey. And I have been now living for 20 years, the longest I've ever lived in a country in the United States. So back in the 90s, where I have been a faculty, an entire university, school system, university, and then faculty in Turkey, I know since then, back in the 90s, that the Turkish diaspora in Germany would lead the hatred and the political decisions and fueling and also voting, in fact, to change the political system so that it, whatever the reason, benefit their absurd or even cultist and sect type of religious benefits, whatever they have there. Also their radical way of thinking, either way radicalist, that is, left, super left radical or super right religious deep radical, which is not even the case in Turkey at that time. So at that moment in the 90s, I was keep saying that why are these people, they are not even living and experiencing what's going on in Turkey. Why would they open their mouth that has nothing to do with what's going on in the country? And then in 2000, when I moved back to Germany for my PhD, I have also seen from my own eyes how these diaspora was fueling and making stuff up, or the country what is not even the case what's going on. That was so obvious to me. And since then, I have been constantly saying, if you don't like a country where it's going down, get the hell out of there. Why are you there? I'm just saying this from an example of Turkish communities, but this is applying for all cultures, for all countries, diaspora, because they live outside of their country for whatever reason for decades, and then they are whatever they see in the news, because we all know the news, because I know for my fact that what I've seen when I moved back into Germany in 2000 for my PhD, what I've seen in the German news, number one, there was nothing related to Turkey or Turkish people at all in the German news, only the most horrendously radical whatever you got was in the news, maybe once or twice ever, which is surreal because there are millions of Turkish people living in Germany. So if you think about that, if you only follow that, you get a completely different picture what the media, the mainstream media, is presenting to you in your mind, that this is what the picture is. It's absolutely not. And how do I know that? Because I have been, as a PhD student at that time, studying cancer, studying genetics, I have been absolutely being looked at like as if like I am falling from the sky. Like, oh, you don't wear a headscarf, you don't wear a hijab, and you wear a mini skirt. Like what? Or you're a PhD student? We know Turkish people as cleaning ladies. Like, where do you come from? Like, these are real facts, okay? So this is the diaspora is being fueled by radical groups, radical communities, left or right, it doesn't matter. And also top that with mainstream media. This is what they are seeing. And the same here in the United States. In the United States, even the Iranian diaspora is now, and other cultures and communities are fueling these types of war-mongering and not living and seeing what's going on really in the situation in those countries. People living in those countries have a completely different mindset because they should be the ones who decide what is good for their country, not you in the diaspora. You cannot radicalize a community and then expect that everyone should believe in what you believe, that what that country is actually going through and the people in that countries. And if you really hear the local news and if you really hear from the local people, if you go there, if you just talk to them, they have a completely different, number one, way of living, but also their needs are completely different. So only because what you have in your mind, whatever your radical group is telling you and what the mainstream media pushed in front of you, doesn't mean it matches the reality in that country. Just go there and talk to them. And if you don't believe me, as a person who lived through this for decades and seeing and fighting against this for decades, then also just see other YouTubers who are talking about this in other countries, in the Middle East and in other countries. Because I also, for my work in our cancer organization, I work with people from all over the world, and I have a team of volunteers from all over the world. And I know from my own eyes, see what is happening, especially today, because I had a meeting over the phone and I can see the background where my team member in the Middle East, what's going on in the background. And I cannot even schedule a meeting because sometimes and oftentimes they don't even have internet access. So what are we talking about? So it's easy and nice to just sit on your warm couch and have your phone in your hand and feel the hatred, which I have seen when I talk about anti-war. It's easy. I don't know if you go to the grocery here, if you live in the United States. Do you go to the grocery? Do you even know what grocery means? When we look into Trump doesn't even know what grocery means. Heard the word for the first time. Do you pay for your mortgage? Do you pay for your car insurance, your home insurance? I don't know, children, school, I don't know, food, health insurance. What are we talking about here? So I don't understand. What are you even for? For whom? And if somebody tells you, and I see this here a lot, oh, the world would be better off when we don't have the Islamic State in Iran. Do you live in Iran? You are diaspora living for 20 years, 30 years, whatever, here in the United States. Go on with your life. They are living there and experiencing whatever they're experiencing. Say, for example, if this would totally go away, would you ever tell me one person who would go back to Iran or the diaspora people to back to a country? Let me tell you, none would go back. I know this for a fact of Turkish people. They I know even know from relatives that they do that. They're just like talking. And I say, if you hate Germany so much, or if you are believing Turkey has to change this, go live. Number one, get the hell out of Germany. Go back to Turkey then. You live for decades, for 40, 50 years in Germany, and you're just like, and you badmouth Germany, where you are the taxpayer, right? And you get all the benefits. There are much more benefits in Germany than United States. Let that to the side. But also, would you ever want to go to and live in Turkey? You never want to live in Turkey. You never even attempt to. So shut up then. What are you talking about then? Either you live and you like and you don't badmouth the country where you suck up all the benefits as a taxpayer, or you go and live in their country that you are apparently so keen to change. Then go and live in that country and try to change it inside of that country, inside of it. you raise up to that government. If you get jailed, you get jailed. It's easy then to just talk on your phone from a completely different country, which you badmouth that country, and then this country, and then the other country, and then you fuel that radical mindset, whatever side you are at, I don't care, but you don't live in that country. And you don't know what these people are going through just because you have your radical mind set to whatever it is that the mainstream media is fooling you with. It is not easy to actually try to change a system inside. And I want you to think about that. Either you go there and try to change a system inside of it if you have the guts, or stop fueling the hatred and divisiveness and the change of the government, either way, either side that you don't even live in, or from your warm couch, phone in your hand, and attacking other people.